Green. He's actually a tailor, and he used to be a conductor. He went to Juilliard, but he has a passion for clothing, and he makes high-end suits for men. And but he started his own business, very very entrepreneurial, and he basically gives me entrepreneurial coachings. So we go in, we talk about music and ways of presenting it, and how to connect with an audience, and how to market it, and how to deal with a client, somebody who might host a home concert. So, I mean, those are just some ideas right off the top of my head. But
Wow.
I would need to get to know Singapore maybe a little better and see what kinds of things. But I'm a big fan of going person by person. You know, if you did those private concerts for a year, once a month, 12 times, you start to ask people to invite their friends. By the end of that year, you'll have met some new people. And the nice thing is, when you have, let's say you bring 10 people the first time, let's say 5 of them really, really like it, you ask them, well, bring 2 or 3 friends next time. And the people who like it, they're going to pick their friends who they're going to think might like it too. And so it kind of grows organically, but it's through the people who already like it. And then if you keep doing this, you're going to have a strong relationship with your fan base.
Wow.
You're going to feel really comfortable, as opposed to just putting the marketing out in the newspaper or on the radio or something like that, where there's not the personal connection. You know, and then when it grows to a critical mass, then you have it in the newspaper, and then all these people who've come to your home concerts, oh, you're in the paper, cool, and then they send it to their friends, and then people read the article, but it's with a, oh yeah, this is my friend's friend, he's an artist, you know, this is in the paper, this is cool. People who don't know you, they read it in the paper, they might be like, oh great, you know, but it doesn't hit home.
Huh.
So
Amazing.
those are my thoughts.
But during those 2 to 3 years, how do you sustain yourself?
Well, that was just one marketing idea. I've sustained myself a lot through teaching, private teaching,
Oh, okay.
which I think is very important. And I don't know anything about private teaching in Singapore really, so I can't speak to that. And I mean, I was already working very hard to try to get concerts going, but it was mainly teaching for me that was able to sustain myself between the time of graduating from school and now, where I still teach now, but I make a substantially more percentage of my income from concerts. And there's no doubt about it, trying to make income from concerts is hard work. It's hard work because it doesn't, at least at the sort of the level of where my career is at, it doesn't just happen automatically. You have to reach out, and then oftentimes you have to reach out to each individual concert venue.
It is.
And if they don't pay very much, you got to reach out to a lot of venues. You know,
That's right.
a lot of people. So
I-
it's hard.
I totally agree. Now,
Yeah.
the third part of being a entrepreneur as an artist, do artists need to have some knowledge and background on how they could write a proper contract agreements with, especially if they would be dealing with the concert performance
Yeah.
halls and promoters and sorts. Has that been a challenge for you?
Well, to be honest, when I do private home concerts, I write up a very, very simple contract with no legal language in it. It's
Yes.
mainly, this is the date, this is the
But-
program.
Yes,
etc.
before the concert halls and
For the
and
concert
promoters
halls,
and so on.
most of those people, they tend to have their standard contract, so I get it from them. And then you read it over, you try your best to understand. So maybe I should do this more, but it has not been an issue for me. I haven't written up any complicated contracts.
But does the artist should have some knowledge about contracts?
I mean, yeah, it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt you.
Would you encourage artists to do some study and
Yeah, but I think, yeah, I would. It depends. I don't think it's the highest priority, honestly. I think when it becomes relevant in your career, that's the time you should know. You shouldn't sign things unless you know what you're signing. Obviously, if you don't know something, like try to. But that's the kind of thing that when you're starting out, if you're young, that's the kind of thing like, oh, my friend's in law school. Let me have my friend read it. And no, it's not formal legal advice. They're not registered. But you're also not paying them an astronomical amount per hour either. You're just trying to understand some written words. So I do a lot of those things. I try to handle those things on an informal basis. Obviously, when you're doing things at a higher level and more serious, established way, then you need to have the legality behind it. But that's something I've tried to avoid. I'm not sure if that's the best thing to do, but
I understand. Now, moving forward, the most important part of the story, and that is, where do you see classical music moving on right now? do you see there's a actually a new emergence of fusion classical music versus contemporary as well as other forms of music that's now creeping in and trying to move forward with a new reform
Mhm.
uh, approach.
Really hard to predict. I really don't know. Um, that's my truthful answer. I think that artists are becoming more creative in how to reach their audiences. I think they have to be. So I think for the it's sort of the landscape of the music business, it's going to be interesting because I think there's a lot of cool ideas that people haven't thought of yet.
Mm.
So I'm excited to see what happens. And I think yes, I think there will be. I think maybe genres are convenient, um, but I think a lot of the barriers will be broken down. Genres maybe.
Mm. Now, being
As you indicated.
but me being a entrepreneur yourself, have you seen social networks being played out as one of the key roles for your career?
For me personally, it's not so key. I'd like it to be more. I'm sort of working to try to develop that more. For some artists, though, I know for a fact it's been huge. All these people that
Oh, does it work?
like on YouTube, the videos have thousands and millions of hits, and then they get picked up by a record label and things like that. So I think it is very important. It's just not something I've done. I have videos on YouTube, I have a Facebook page, etc. But it's not something I've really focused on.
But does that work for you?
I think it can. It hasn't, like I said, it hasn't been a key. It hasn't been a key part of what I've focused on in the past, but it's important.
So how did you succeed? So you just went about organizing home concerts. Is that correct?
I mean, when I started the '88 concert tour, I decided that was going to be the focus, and I developed ways of personalizing concerts. And so that, from a business standpoint, that is okay. Who are the people that have pianos in homes that are willing to pay for a concert or open to the idea of having a concert? So that was the thing. So it was a lot of talking to people. But see, when you play a home concert, you can ask everyone in the audience, like, hey, do you know anyone else who's interested in this? So it's a series of doing that. That's what it was. And then, around the 17th concert of this tour, 88 concert tour, is when I went to Afghanistan, Kabul, Afghanistan, and gave a concert at the brand new music school there. That's a whole story unto itself. But that's when I was like, this needs to be an international tour. Up until that point, I'd only been focusing on the United States. So then the game sort of changed. It was, how can I create a tour to Asia? And so I opened myself up to more than just home concerts at that point. It was like any kind of concert. But it was more sort of as an entrepreneur saying, okay, how can I make this work? I want to go to Asia. I want to do a tour of Asia. Which countries should I go to? Where do I know the most people already? Where do my friends know people? What kind of concerts are possible there? Can I do more than just give concerts? Can I give lessons? Can I give talks? Are there musicians there that I can collaborate with? Maybe there's somebody, if you're a pianist, maybe there's a violinist who would love to play with a pianist from America. It'd be kind of a fun duo. Maybe they can help you because they're already in this. Things like that. You just try to look at it from a different angle. And that's the approach I've really taken.
So have you ever been booed and discouraged,
I've been discouraged. I don't remember being booed. I mean, usually with classical music, it's not boo. It's usually a lukewarm response. It's usually just like the polite applause instead of authentic applause.
Okay.
No,
so if you have been discouraged in one occasion or another, how would you encourage artists to actually encourage themselves and just move on?
Yeah, I mean,
that must be really difficult, isn't it?
I think well, let's look at it in terms of success and failure for a second. If you view, I try to conceive of things, in a way there's no such thing as failure. Everything's a learning experience.
Oh, you really?
That's what I try to view.
Okay.
Failure's a mental construct you come up with when you're attached to your goal. Too much. It's like if this concert has to go well and the audience has to like it, and then if they don't like it, you failed. It's like I would just take a step back. It depends what it is, but it would just take a step back and say, hey, what happened in this situation? What went wrong? What could I do differently next time? And a lot of times I found when things didn't go well, there were reasons. there were specific things where I said, next time I have to make sure that I do this. I have to talk to the concert presenter about this. I have to remember to tell the audience this. You know, oh, I have to check out the piano first. You know, things like that. That's how you learn. So I think it's important to have, you know, like one of the things that's always disappointing is when you write to people and then they don't write back. This is an age-old thing. I'm trying to set up a concert. I wrote to 5 people that might be able to help me set up concerts. None of them wrote back. So the thing is, try to write to a lot of people all at once, so you're not attached to any one person writing back. You know, then, like, I would do things where when I started planning the India tour, I wrote to 20 people on the first day. And then it was interesting to see, you know, after a few days, a lot of the people had written back, but there were still people who hadn't. But if I had done that one at a time, man, I would have been focused on how each person, oh, they haven't written back yet, it's been 3 days, it's been 5 days, it's been a week, oh my God, what am I gonna, should I call them? And then you just get all, you know, wrapped up in that. So, but if you contact a lot of people, so I think it's good to, if you're gonna do something, really, really do it in that sense.
Now, right now, being here in Singapore, you'll be performing a great piece this coming Thursday. But I want to ask you right now, before we close, you know, what will be the 3 key advice, and as we wrap up, you know, what will be the 3 key advice and encouragement would you give for aspiring artists like yourself, because they are all one-man operation, most of them,
Yeah.
especially in Singapore now. Most of the new artists, they haven't got a manager, they find it too expensive,
Right.
and they want to aspire and make it, you know, a success. So what would be the 3 main key advice that you would give them?
Well, I think some of the key things are things we've already touched on a little bit.
Yes.
Create a support system. Define where it is that you would like to go in incremental steps. What would you like to be doing in 3 months? What would you be like to doing in 1 year? What would you like to do in 5 years? This is a sort of standard kind of advice. Be creative. You know, one exercise I've developed with a friend was, you know, name a place you'd like to go before you die, name somebody you want to meet before you die, and name some crazy things you might want to try on stage. And so you sort of put those things together, and it's like, if you know, my thing was, you know, I really want to play all over the world, you know, and I want to meet really fascinating, interesting people. So that's sort of my goal. So it's like, okay, how do I achieve that? Well, you got to go to certain countries. Well, pick a country. Singapore. Well, how do you get to go to Singapore? Talk to people that go to Singapore. Develop a strategy. You need to develop a strategy. It can be a very simple strategy, but if your goal is to play in you know, music venues in Singapore, then develop a strategy. Get to know the people who have played in those clubs. Get to know the people who run them.
Great.
You know?
Now, before we really let you go, you know,
Okay.
you know, here at the National Critics' Choice, many people are wondering, and they like to find out what will be the top 3 things that you may have listed out before you die. Well, you know, before you die, what would you like to do?
From a career standpoint,
Well, both personal and career.
man, 3 things I want to do before I die. It's a
Yeah.
good question. I mean, from a career standpoint, I love what I'm doing right now. I want to keep doing it. I want to, you know, like, let's say, you know, one goal could be, this is a crazy goal, I don't know if it's doable, you play in every country in the world. That would be amazing.
That would be 196 countries.
Exactly. So I'm up to 17 so far.
17, okay.
So how many do I have to go? 170? Something like that.
Something like that,
Sorry,
yeah.
180. What, 196 is it?
It's 196
So 100 and 179 more to go.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah. But that, I would say that, but that's not necessarily that I'm going to achieve that, but that's the spirit that I approach my career with.
Oh,
So
that's
that
a
would
good
be-
spirit. That's a
yeah.
good spirit, yeah.
I love that kind of exploration. I want to play the complete works of Chopin.
Oh, wow, that would be a challenge. That
Um,
would be something.
you know, people always ask who's your favorite composer. I don't really know who my favorite composer is, but I love his works. And then let's see, what's the third thing I want to do before I die? I don't know. Can I keep it to those two?
Yeah,
Sort
you
of
can.
Within
Yeah.
the bounds of our
Yeah.
conversation.
Maybe eat all you want. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Eat all you want. I want to drink a lot of coconut water from coconuts. That's my goal. Daily coconut.
Great. Well, once again, here at the National Critics' Choice, Mr. Kimball, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
And folks at the National Critics' Choice viewers, thank you for joining me here at the National Critics' Choice at the Stienberg review with Mr. Kimball, Gallagher, and myself. I'm Robin Steinberg. Thank you for watching, and have a good week ahead. And before we really end this time, let me indulge just one more question, and that is, Kimball, are you going to release an album anytime soon?
I really have to do that because my last CD was 7 years ago.
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
Yes, I am, but I don't know when yet. It's coming up. Stay tuned. You can check my website, KimballGallagher.com.
That's right. Check out his website. And till then, thank you for joining me. Have a good way ahead. I'm Robin Steinberg. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. That was good.
Yeah, that's entertaining. I hope.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.
I thought it was fun.
That was good.
Wow. I think it's